On today's show, we explore how healing can be helpful when you've already accessed your channeling gift, but you want more confidence to use it. Stay tuned to learn more. Welcome to the Dream Interpretation Podcast with your guest host, April Angel. We have two courses coming up right away. On June 20th, I will be teaching a sweet little mini course called The Spiritual Dimension of Dreams. And in this 2 to 3 hour class, you will learn how to identify your spiritual gifts and dreams. In addition to learning how to interpret spiritual dreams, we interpret student dreams in class. And what other course does that? This class is priced at an incredible value for you. It's only $97 plus. Best of all, you get a personal 30-minute dream interpretation session with me or Nicole for $97. It's like inflation never happened. And then also next week, the one right after, on June 27th, I will begin teaching our healing course. This is a course that walks you through transformational healing. We'll have group classes that meet for 7 weeks. You'll get a regression at the start of the healing and a personal coach that sticks with you until your healing is complete. And you get bonus channeled readings as well. It's a fantastic course. It's absolutely life-changing. And you can find information about both of those courses and sign up at dream-analysis.com/courses. Okay, so since I run the healing program at Ashlink School, I intend to spend the next 2 weeks on this podcast talking about healing because I love this subject and I love this work. Because you and me and everyone on earth is here to expand ourselves through growth and healing. The obstacles in your life are there on purpose and are meant to make you uncomfortable until you finally do something to overcome them. Deep down, we want to overcome, but the real work happens on the inside, not by changing things around on the outside. So take a look at your life. Where do you feel uncomfortable? And then take a look at your dreams, and they will tell you what needs healing. Now, today we're going to be looking at a dream from Sabrina, who is currently undergoing therapy to feel better about using her gifts. She's already working in the spiritual field, but feels that she's hit an obstacle as far as how confident she feels about her work. And she knows that she's meant to be doing it, so what gives? We're going to look at two dreams today from her that explore the issue from two different perspectives. And by that, I mean both parents are responsible for the discomfort that she's feeling right now. She didn't know that before starting, but the dreams are showing it. So let's take a look at the first dream today. I will break them down and explain as I go through. Okay, the dream is called Performance Show. And she says, I was a part of a music group, a performing music group, an orchestra. Everyone was setting up, getting ready. I met a man who sat next to me. His name was Livorno, which is actually a city in Italy. Okay, so we'll stop here. Music and orchestra tells us that this dream is about her channeling gift, and it's giving us guidance, giving her guidance about how to get in harmony with her gift. That's what an orchestra represents. So right away, she's sitting next to a man named after a city in Italy. Italy is about the heart and passion. So this dream is almost immediately sending in a healing agent to help her with her masculine energy to pursue passion. Healing agents can help simply by being near us in the dream, and that's really nice, but it also means something is lacking for us to need that help. Okay, I'll continue. There was a woman selling jewelry, and we had to visit her table to purchase something in our support. I walk there, and I'm now with my daughter, looking at different earrings and holding them up. Okay, so this dreamer, I'll just tell you, she is cutting the ties that bind with the womb, which sounds unusual to do this if you've never heard of it, but the womb is our first experience of being in the world. And sometimes to heal an issue that we're holding on to, we have to go all the way back there. And because we are coming from the spirit world when we're in the womb, we're still very open to it and everything around us. So we know what mom and dad are like while we're in the womb. And they are the most important people on our radar. What they are like and what they experience is the only thing that we register. We're not tuned into politics. We're tuned into their thoughts and feelings. Mom, abundantly so. Some of you advanced dream interpreters and listeners might be wondering where I got womb from in this dream. But when she started the healing process, I walked her into a regression where she deeply and fully felt her experience while in the womb. And her guide told us that this is where she should be doing the work. So that's where I get womb from. So this woman is selling jewelry, and this is what she's meant to be doing in life. She's meant to be selling her gifts. Jewelry represents the most precious aspect of your nature, and gifts are our most precious aspects. So in the dream, it's strange to me that she says that she needs to support this woman. And that tells me that Sabrina decided that she needed to support mom while she was in the womb. Mom's energy was so dense while she was in the womb that she deeply wanted to help alleviate what she was being washed in. And the earrings are about channeling, and she's holding them up. So this is how she decided that she's going to help. She's going to use her channeling ability to support herself and others. Okay, so next we're going to explore what those earrings looked like. She says, I found white leaf earring studs. My daughter said they looked okay. I really liked them. Okay, we don't love the color white here. It would symbolize being perfectionistic about her channeling gift, and we don't want that for Sabrina. White involves critiquing and criticism, and we want her to be a little bit happier than that with her gift. And why would she be drawn to this pair of earrings? Well, because mom is that way, and we'll adopt the energy of our parents to get their love and acceptance. Okay, so next she says, then the same leaf design but in a darker shimmer champagne color. My daughter said, no way to that. Okay, so now the color of these earrings is even worse. It's like we're taking the healing colors of beige and gold and we're muting them and then turning it dark with fear. We don't want that for Sabrina. We don't want her to be in fear while using her channeling gifts. So I'm glad she says no to those earrings. And then she says, next, I hold up a medium gold pair of flower studs. I like them and they look the best. Okay, so this is great. This is what she is choosing to invest in through doing this healing work. The gold color is about healing, flowers represent love, and it's excellent that this is her choice. She even says that they're medium gold flower studs. The medium is referencing the fact that she's a channel and using this gift as an expression of love and healing, meaning I can help others by expressing this part of my precious nature. Okay, so then she says, we are in individual booths with our instruments. The show had begun, and I was listening to another play the violin whilst I tried to get myself organized. Okay, so she's clairaudient because she's listening to a violin being played, so she can hear it. That's clairaudience. And we also see her being aware that other people are playing, they're using their gifts, but she doesn't really feel ready to use hers. Now, she knows that she feels this way. It kind of felt like a rug had slowly been pulled from underneath her with this gift, where she used to do it and love it. Now she kind of feels like she can't do it. She's not ready, like something she needs is missing. Next, she says, my curtain had been opened. I wasn't sure when it opened, but I wasn't ready. I didn't know what instrument I was playing. I had a cello that wouldn't stand, a chocolate violin, and a toy violin. All right, we'll stop again. The curtain being opened is great. The curtain would symbolize a limitation, but it's not closed. So it's saying that her heart is open and ready. The ability is there. She already has access. She just doesn't feel like she's ready. Okay, now let's look at these instruments. The cello, she says the cello wouldn't stand. She's not standing to use her gift. That's what that represents. And it's a nod to the masculine energy lacking here. She also says there's a chocolate violin. That wouldn't really work. And it means that sugar impacts her channeling gift. And she knows this, but hasn't been as disciplined as she used to be when she was engaging the gift more often. So remember, dreams are never, ever casting judgment. They're just stating facts to help. And they're saying, like, sugar doesn't help. Sugar does not help your channeling gift. And then next, she has a toy violin. And this is going to represent issues from childhood that are connected to why she feels unready today. Okay, let's continue. Then one of the girls began playing and singing my name, asking me to join her if I was ready. I felt in the spotlight with nothing to present or show. She continued to sing and play whilst I had nothing to show. Okay, so a girl is asking her to join if she feels ready. Her feminine energy is calling her forth here. Women in dreams represent heart, emotions, feelings. So look at this as her heart is wanting to do this. She feels this calling. She feels this pull right now. She wants to do it. But as soon as she is called, she feels uncomfortable and in the spotlight. So we're seeing more specifics on her issue here. Being in the spotlight is a masculine energy aspect. And when our masculine energy is balanced, we feel okay being in the spotlight, but we see that she feels bad being in the spotlight here. So I expect to see dad's influence showing up in the dream because dad is responsible for giving us strong masculine aspects. And if dad was lacking in some way in his masculine energy, he can't pass on to us everything that we need. And it's kind of neat when you're cutting the ties with the womb, you can include issues with both parents. All right, so next she says, I was wearing PJ shorts and slippers instead of being dressed formally, like you would in an orchestra. Okay, so this is another depiction of not feeling ready. Notice that only her legs and feet are being mentioned. She says she's wearing PJ shorts and slippers. So legs have to do with moving forward and achieving things in life. And that's where she feels a little bit stuck and hesitant. She says, next, I take a small violin and walk out of my cube and off stage. I'm looking for a private place I can practice or warm up. Okay, so the cube is limitation. We don't like that for her. And she's coming off the stage. So it's saying that she's not willing to channel publicly anymore. She wants to go somewhere private. She wants to hide, meaning that she would rather not be seen using this gift. Okay, so next she says, this building is a bar. So she's come off stage. This building is a bar and it's busy. I can't see anyone. It's busy with members of the public now. Okay, so we've switched to a bar. This is moving the focus to working in the public, serving spirits, using gifts. It also symbolizes mom having preferred to stay busy. She's picking up that busyness here, but it's saying that she's meant to be working in the spiritual field, and she is, but this is how it works some of the time. You learn that you have a life purpose. You take steps to move toward it. You heal, you feel great, you jump in. And then once you're doing it for a while, you'll discover the next thing that needs to be healed. And it's all part of life purpose. In her case, she is good at channeling and her other work, but her masculine energy isn't keeping up with her feminine energy's call. And that's making her want to pull back and hide. Okay, so let's look at the next part. 3 young men approach me, giving me unwanted attention and comments. I try to get rid of them or tell them I'm not interested, but they ignore me and continue to push me over. I comment about the security guard, but how he does nothing, says something about how he can't do anything unless they're drunk or aggressive. He was pathetic. No help at all. Okay, we see here that right away, she doesn't want attention. She says that these guys are giving me unwanted attention and comments. So attention here feels like an invasion of her personal space. And in reality, any attention that she used to get from mom was negative. She even wondered if she was in mom's way while she was in the womb. So even in the womb, she felt ignored, pushed aside, sort of like what's happening here with these 3 men. And her space and her presence was not honored. Is there a little bit of a nod to entities in this dream? I didn't want to mention that, but a little bit. Um, Boundary issues can leave us vulnerable to that sort of influence. I don't want to elaborate, but you know what? If mom's energy was extremely negative and unpleasant while you were in the womb, then you do long to escape the relentless onslaught of her thoughts and feelings. So, issues with boundaries can start here, since there was a desire for and a denial of your own space, just a little bit reprieve. When you're in the womb, there's no reprieve. So, what is the security guard doing in this dream? Well, nothing. And this tells us that dad's energy, simply put, it didn't make her feel safe. It didn't make her feel protected. And it seems harsh to say that dad was pathetic because that's what she says about the security guard. But that's what she would have known about dad's masculine energy while in the womb. When I asked her to describe her dad, she said that he was meek and can't stand up to confrontation, but is a lovely person otherwise. So we're not here to bash dad as a person. We're just looking for what the dreamer needed and did not get. So he did nothing. What does this mean for the dreamer? Well, it means if I'm ever getting unwanted attention or comments, dad will do nothing to help. He will let me struggle on my own. So I guess I should just avoid attention altogether. And since she saw dad as lacking backbone, in this regard at least, her own masculine energy is now lacking backbone in terms of being in the spotlight. Attention is a threat, and she can't feel okay being in the spotlight. So she avoids attention because of dad. That's affecting her confidence. That's affecting her ability to be in the spotlight. So that's it for that dream. And I like this dream because it's easy for people to find themselves in a similar position. Perhaps you've learned how to channel and felt great while you were under the wing of the class or the teacher, but now maybe you feel that you are not prepared enough. And these types of feelings are generally pointing toward more issues from childhood. All right, so let's look at another dream from Sabrina. This one is called My Mother's Interruption, and it reads, we are with family. I'm sitting at a table with my mother on my left and her friends. Marie is talking about her daughter Mary and how they are trying to treat her for depression. Marie says she knows it's partly her fault because she was vomiting during the whole pregnancy. All right, so here we see attention being brought to a mom and a daughter during the pregnancy. And that's great since Sabrina is healing issues connected to her time in the womb. Marie is the mom in this dream. And in reality, Sabrina described her as someone who didn't seem to enjoy raising small children. She's lost touch with her inner child and playful side. And this is exactly what Sabrina's mother was like. So now, this dreamer, like the daughter in the dream, has experienced depression in her life. And that's a result of mom being so cold and not enjoying raising her as a child. And that's sad. And that really disturbs Sabrina. So finally, here we see the dream is showing a mother taking responsibility for her impact on the child. Sabrina's actual mother would never do this, but the dreamer would. And it's healing for her to see a mother care. Next, she says, I began to speak, having everyone's full attention, saying it was so good that Marie was aware like this, but not to be too hard on herself, that the pregnancy would have created the right conditions for both you and the baby to experience the emotions needed to bring into this lifetime. Okay, so she says she began to speak, having everyone's full attention. This is something that we know the dreamer wants to improve, and we saw this issue in the other dream. Here, she's in the spotlight, she's speaking up, offering comfort and grace, and raising awareness. So far, so good, right? Since she's acknowledging the awareness of another person in the dream, this means that the dreamer has this level of awareness regarding the design of things. And that's really great. So even though she herself had a hard time in the womb, and that's what she's healing, she's acknowledging here that pregnancy creates the right conditions for both mom and baby, and that the baby needs to experience certain emotions and bring them into this life. So I'm going to add a little bit here because she's right, and this is good. So there's a part of you that wanted to come here and grow, come here to Earth. Your higher self and your spirit team planned this life because they knew exactly what you needed to experience to put the right obstacles in place. With those obstacles in place, you had hope and faith that you could grow and overcome all that you planned. And you put all the right helpers and teachers in place too to help you and meet you on your path. So There's this higher self part of you that planned your hardships, that knew it was going to experience the things that you've experienced, that wanted that knows it's part of the plan. And then there is this other part of you that had to live through it. And when you're doing healing, we have to approach cutting the ties that bind, for example, because that's what this dreamer is doing, have to approach the healing from the perspective of the small child who went through the experience. We have to feel what has been buried in order to heal it. So, Michael always says that the obstacles are not in the way, they are the way. We plan the limitations that we experience because we have an important goal in mind for ourselves by experiencing them. In life, it seems that the limitations exist outside of us, but in the spirit world, we feel the limitation in our own energy. And that's what we're trying to eliminate by coming here. So, Sabrina is essentially saying, Mom didn't do the wrong thing and couldn't have changed the conditions of the pregnancy, even if she wanted to, and the child got what she needed. And it's true, but we have to push all of that aside during healing and fully embrace the part of ourself that was hurt, because that's how we heal. We heal the hurt by meeting the hurt face to face. Okay. Now, remember the dreamer was speaking before I went on my little rant there. The dreamer was speaking and had everyone's full attention. Let's see what happens next. She says, my mother begins speaking across the table to her friend Shelley, who's seated to my right. I look at my mother and I tell her, shut up. I am speaking right now. You always do this to me when I'm in the middle of speaking. It felt a little harsh, yet I wanted her to know that she was doing the wrong thing. I then continued speaking. Okay, so mom is interfering with the attention that she's getting here. Like she's literally interrupting to have her own unrelated conversation and completely ignore what Sabrina is saying. And Sabrina's this given wisdom. So this is something that mom does do in reality, and it triggers Sabrina in reality. No matter how many times she brings this up to mom and points out the rudeness, mom never stops. And she doesn't just do it to Sabrina, she does it to lots of people. So this is another obstacle impacting her ability to fully and freely express herself. And it's good that she stands up for herself here, but that hasn't worked in reality so far. So she needs to heal the anger at mom's rudeness. This will ensure that she won't attract more of it into her interactions with others, or at the very least, she won't be fazed by it. All right, so that's those two dreams from Sabrina. We're going to do one more. We've got time. So let's move on to another dreamer named Tracy. She finished cutting the ties with mom about 2 months ago. So let's see what her dreams are saying now. The dream is called Chicks and a Teaching Song. And she says, I was traveling with a group of children and some little chicks. There were 7 little chicks. There was a big black dog. I kept moving to stand between the dog and the little chicks. I thought of giving 1 chick each to the kids to take care of, but the kids were on rollerblades. I was on a bicycle. The kids were pretty good on the rollerblades, but if they fell, they would injure the chick if they were holding it. When I had to go somewhere, I asked them to put the chicks under some chain link fencing while I was gone. I thought a bird or raptor could come down and easily get a chick. I saw the kids and chicks on television. The kids were sitting at a table made of chain link fencing. The chicks were under the table at knee level of the kids. The kids had a song that was teaching something. Someone on television was talking about us because we were traveling around teaching something. A person on TV said he didn't know how I could teach this. And I said, we really do. The TV guy kept talking about the song and how effective it was. All right, so she's traveling with a group of children. This means that she has a spiritual leadership ability. We love that. And then there's 7 little chicks. So this is going to represent age 7. And she finished cutting the ties that bind with her mom. And chickens and chicks in dreams can represent having not felt endeared to mom, period. Like, I don't feel endeared. So here she's got these little chicks and she's managing them. So it's almost like I have gotten back in touch with this little precious aspect of myself, but chicks are yellow. So there's a little bit of fears there. And we see the fear being emphasized a couple of different times because she said that there's a big black dog. Now, the black dog represents fears that she has, and it's also going to represent dad because dad was a threatening presence in childhood. He's very angry, very demanding. So she's connected with this precious aspect of herself, this little dear precious part of her. And we see that she's afraid. She doesn't feel safe having this part exposed. She says that there were kids on rollerblades and she was on a bicycle. That's great. She worked on healing her heart, and both of those things represent the heart. So the kids are pretty good on the rollerblades. That's excellent. She's on a bike, but she's worried that if she hands the chicks over that they're going to get injured. So again, the black dog is a threat. The kids might not do a good enough job. That's a threat. So that's a fear that she has. I fear doing the wrong thing, even saying the wrong thing. I just need to keep things close. Keep things close to my chest is kind of the energy here. And let's see what else. There's a chain link fence. She asks the kids to put the chicks under a chain link fence while she goes to do something else. So the chain link fence has to do with karma because of the chain link. And a fence is also separation. So this is about the heart. It's saying that she still wants to keep herself separate, but only because it doesn't feel safe to be in the heart. And that's dad's influence. That's on dad. So she's gonna have to cut the ties with dad at some point in order to feel fully free being in her feminine energy. She needs a stronger masculine energy platform. But, when you've finished cutting the ties that bind with mom, the energy keeps moving for a while. Like we say, like, don't do any other healing for 3 to 5 months because the trajectory that you've created, the momentum with the healing energy that you've just done, it keeps moving. And that's really what this dream is saying too. It's like we see the heart energy still working, and it might work itself out a little bit here, but she will need to cut the ties with dad because he was such a scary person. And the chain link means that, like, this karmic wound of, like, feeling good about sharing herself it's part of her karma. It's part of her karma to come here and open herself up and feel good being herself and just share herself. All right. That is all that I have time for today. I hope you guys remember to visit dream-analysis.com/courses to sign up for the mini course and the healing course. That's on June 20th and 27th, respectively. Thanks for tuning in. See you next week.